Hey, what's up? I'm Johnny from thespiltink.com. I just recently painted a bunch of Mooney dowels. And what I want to do is talk about the pros and cons of painting them. First off, they're not as easy as they seem. Trust me, it took me quite a while to do it. And so I'm going to tell you a couple of my techniques of what I found that was good and what was bad. I did glow-in-the-dark Moonies, and I also did just regular Mooney. The first Mooney I did was this guy here. He's a regular Mooney. I call him a bad acid trip. Just in case if you had a bad acid trip or somebody you know who had a bad acid trip, this will bring back some memories. What I did for this one was I used the Posca markers, paint markers. Okay, one thing about Posca is they're cool, but they're kind of difficult. When you paint on them with lighter colors, you kind of like rub to the surface and stuff, which kind of rubs away the paint, which makes it kind of difficult. So what you got to do is add a couple of coats on him. Yeah, so it's not as easy as you might think to work with these. What I did was afterwards I used Sharpie marker for a couple of the black areas, and Sharpie marker worked fantastic. Sharpie marker is like a tattoo. I mean, once the ink's in, it's in forever, right? So yeah, so that's what I did for this one. To make him shiny, what you might want to do is you might use a little bit of lacquer, right? So what I did was I actually used 3 coats of lacquer. Probably you only need 1, but I usually push things to the level, thus bad acid trip. Yeah, he is very shiny, and the problem with using three coats of lacquer is he becomes a little bit sticky. So when you put him on the surface of things, he sticks. He's kind of like one of those mad balls that you used to have that was in the sun for a long time, and then you brought it into your house and it kind of like stuck to something and took the paint off or whatever. Yeah, that's what he does. But I'm very happy of how he turned out and stuff. If you have the time and patience, I recommend using these. They also have some fluorescent markers, the Posca fluorescence right here, and yeah, they work really nice. The blue's not so, it's not as good as like the yellow and the orange and the pink. The pink is actually pretty cool. But yeah, that's what I have for this one. Okay, after this one, what I did was I did the glow-in-the-dark Moonies. And how I painted these is, well, I wanted to try something different, and with my work, I do a lot of work at nightclubs, painting with fluorescence. So I tried to use acrylic paint and glow-in-the-dark to see like how that combination worked, and it actually worked pretty well. Yeah, the concept behind this one is, his name is Fuku from Fukushima, because I live in Tokyo and we all have a bit of radiation poisoning, and so pretty much his eyes, his stomach, and his butt glows in the dark. And it turned out really, really well. Pros and cons of acrylic paints. Okay, dark acrylic paints work very well. 1 coat is pretty much all you need, maybe 2 just to be safe. With the lighter colors such as this one here, the light blue here, and this blue here, I did about 3 or 4 coats of this just because to avoid the brush strokes. Okay? Now, he is a little shiny, but that's just naturally from the acrylic, because acrylic's kind of plastic, right? The down point is it's a little bit matte as well, so it's kind of like in the middle of like matte and shiny. Because like this concept of the glow-in-the-dark guys, they're all dead dolls, dead Moonies. Yeah, I think that the matte actually turned out really well and stuff. He glows in the dark very well. Another thing is, when you have the Mooney, the less paint that you add to the glow-in-the-dark ones, the more it glows in the dark. So if you got a little bit of paint on him, he'll glow in the dark really well. But the more paint you put on it, I guess it covers the surface. It makes it a little bit more difficult for them to glow in the dark. Yeah, I'm using fluorescent, I'm using black lights to have, for the show that these are going to be in. So actually it doesn't really matter for my purposes. The next one I have is this one here. This one here, his name is Bommy, because a bomb blew up half his body. He glows in the dark really well, actually much better than Fuku, because, well, half his body is covered with paint. Once again, the lighter color was a little bit more difficult to put on, to apply. So I did 2 coats of this one. But this pink here, this pink turned out really, really well. I only did 1 coat. 2 coats in some parts are a little bit more difficult. One thing is, when you paint these, take these little fuckers apart. Take off their head, take off their arms, wash them once, rinse them dry, make sure they're really, really dry, and then begin to paint. Because if you don't do that, it is going to get you in the butt in the end. It's really, really difficult. Oh, if you notice right here, I got a black line that outlines the acrylic paint, and that was done with a Sharpie marker, and it just went on like butter. It was really nice, and it turned out really, really, really cool. Okay, so that's this guy here, and then finally I have Shooty. Shooty's nice. He doesn't glow in the dark as well as the other ones because his name is Shooty and he was shot in the head and he has quite a massive exit wound. Okay, now he doesn't glow in the dark as much as the other ones, but I wanted to show him because this here is the darkest acrylic paint, and pretty much all I needed to paint this guy was about 1 coat. And he was very simple to paint and stuff. I mean, the bottom parts right down here, you got to be a little careful and stuff. If you want to experiment at all with the paints or any markers that you may be using, I recommend trying on the bottom. If you look down here, I got a little X. That's because I first experimented on him with the Posca. So yeah, if you want to get some Posca markers or some paint pens or some Sharpies, just do a little doodle there in the bottom, wait till it dries and see if you can rub it off or see how, if you need 2 coats or 3 coats or whatnot and stuff. They're pretty cool. I'm going to show you how well they glowed. So I got a black light behind me. And if you take a little look right here, alright, camera person, took right here. Okay, here we go. We've got a bad acid trip. He's right here. And we have Fuka right here. We got Bommy right here, and we got Shooty. So that's how well they glow with the black light. And if I turn off all the lights, let's see how well they glow without the black light. Let's see if we can get anything going in here. Notice how this one right here glows pretty well and stuff. This here is the fluorescent paint markers. So that's actually kind of cool. Okay, lights off. Let's see what they look like. All right, let's move these out of the way. Not bad, not bad. I'm actually very happy how these turned out. Their glowing time is actually quite long. Sometimes I can't really sleep. Actually, Shooty, you probably can't see this, but he's actually glowing through the actual... Oh, you can't see that at all. But he's actually glowing through the actual paint and stuff because his paint's actually quite light, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, you can't see that with my iPhone camera, but still, that's pretty cool. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. If you want to see more of this work, check out my website, it's thespiltink.com. And once again, we're going to do one more of the black light. Very nice, very nice. I'm very impressed with these. Once again, it took a long time to paint them. It wasn't easy. The pink here actually looks really cool. Notice that detail. Isn't that awesome? Bad acid trip. I don't recommend it. I do recommend the doll, though. Alright, folks, cheers.